Lily Allen is a UK singer-songwriter, pop singer who has been around for well over 10 years now. She came through with her debut album in 2006. 20? What the fuck am I on about? 2006. It's Alright Still, an hilarious album. I have it on CD somewhere, I cannot find it. I'm very sad about that. I was going to show it in my review. I was going to like pick it up and be like, it's right there. But I don't have it, so this skit is pointless now. The album was very funny. She also managed to create some amazing pop songs as well, but just the lyrics on the album was so hilarious. Like, she was just a bitch, but she knew she was, and she moaned about everything, but it was hilarious, and I wanted to listen to it all day because it was a kind of moaning that you just found so funny that it never got annoying. But honestly, I feel like that part of her disappeared a little bit as time went on. I mean, she dropped an album a few years ago with terrible singles like Air Balloon and the Hard Out Here for a Bitch song. Oh boy, that was bad. I mean, it was obviously like a play on the whole Blurred Lines thing, a bit of a parody on that, but it was just really not funny. Like, if you're gonna parody something, do it funny. I mean, yeah. But she's back with the album that perhaps describes her best, No Shame. She just has no shame in anything that she says. But unfortunately, the album doesn't quite entail the sort of non-PC, out there type words that you'd expect to hear from an album called No Shame. The album plays it pretty safe, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's not terrible by any means. It's not a bad album. But, it just kind of loses the sensibility that she always once had, which I kind of miss. And I really did think it had come back on the opening track with that pre-chorus where she's like, yeah, I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad wife, you saw it on the socials, you saw it online, you say that you know me, then why am I so fucking lonely, because no one calls me. I just found that line so funny. Like, it's self-deprecating, recognizing that she's lonely, but also playing to this idea that all these people that don't know her pretend to know her, but yet she still doesn't have any friends. It's so sad, but man, it's a Lily Allen that I knew and loved. And the track is pretty good. I wouldn't say the singing is that great on this one, but I think the tune is pretty cool. It's soft, but also quite melodic and a bit synthy as well. Perhaps not really the best instrumental on the album, but I quite liked it for what it was. But it is a real shame that she tries going commercial on a few more of these cuts. I mean, Trigger Bang, really not a great song. Gigs is featured on this track. He comes out with a terrible line, holy shit. Steamboat Willie, like the old Mickey, Steamboat Willie, she gets the whole dicky. Yeah, man, this is why grime will never be as good as hip-hop from the US. You gotta step it up, UK rappers, seriously, man, oh boy. And I know there's a lot of US rappers out there too that have terrible lines, but I mean, yeah, and the rest of this track, she talks about how she's not part of the cool gang. I don't really know what she's trying to go for here. I mean, I guess she's older than she was when she first started out, so maybe she's gotten to an age where she doesn't see herself as being hip or whatever. But it just doesn't make for interesting content. The trend continues on your choice with Burna Boy, a dancehallish track, which doesn't sound terrible, but man, it definitely sounds like it's trying to be a hit, and I just know it won't be a hit because I can just sense that it won't. It's one of those tracks that tries but fails, like that last Beck album that tried to be a pop album, but it just wasn't getting it anything anywhere near right. But the best tracks, surprisingly, on this album come in the more sorrow, heartbreaking piano ballads, which I was very surprised at. I mean, the track 3, where she's singing the song from her daughter's perspective, how like she's basically saying here that her daughter really just wants to make paper mache toy type stuff. Paper mache arts and crafts, not toys. but you know, she just doesn't understand why her mum can't be there for her to do that, because she always has to go on tour or has to work or whatever. And I don't know, that kind of writing's really intelligent, I think, to write from your daughter's perspective. Yeah, I just find that thing really interesting. Family Man is another great track. I mean, this one again discussing family here. You know, the kind of hardships of how what it means to be a parent and what it means to provide. Again, you know, the instrumental on this one is absolutely killer, absolutely fantastic song, best on the album, I would say. I would gladly listen to this on a regular basis. I think this is a really good song. It's a shame though that she wasn't able to keep up that kind of songwriting for the rest of the album, because I think this mature side of her actually brings out some profound ideas. It is weird though, because I came into this album wanting that silly humour that we've gotten from her over the years, but it turns out that the more mature ones are the best moments here. I think Higher is a nice song too. It doesn't really do too much with the instrumental, but the subtlety kind of works in its favour. It's interesting, really. It's the kind of song that I would usually just throw away and be like, ah, it's kind of dull, boring, but I think the minimalist approach manages to be very effective. So I think Higher is also another highlight. That trendy dancehall type thing comes up again on Lost My Mind. I think this works a lot better than the Burna Boy featured track. I mean, the chorus is pretty nice here. She goes into quite like a upper register with the vocals. And yeah, I think this one is just a nice like plinkety track. You know, the beat is very plinky and do do do. In a kind of like Shape of You type way from Ed Sheeran, but I think it works here. Tracks like Everything to Feel Something though don't particularly do a lot for me. I mean, this kind of lyricism just really is dire, honestly. Like, I don't really feel like she's got much to say on this one. I mean, you know, you've tried everything to feel something. I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit vapid, you know, a bit vague. It doesn't really go anywhere. What does it really mean? What does everything mean in this context? What exactly have you tried? You know, I just feel like it's a bit too vague. But generally across this album, aside from the negatives I've mentioned, generally the tunes are there. I think some tracks do just kind of have a nice, enjoyable pop sound to them, even if they're not the best she's ever done or the best pop music you'll hear. But I think she does do a pretty decent job at crafting a few decent tunes across the album, while also having some very serious topics too. The album closes off in quite a strange way. I mean, the track on its own is pretty fine. It has a good message. I think the whole like feminist angle is something that she's always managed to do really well on previous albums as well. She's never been one to kind of do it in a distasteful way or in a way that sounds like she doesn't really have an understanding of the way things are, because on this track here is a good example of that. I mean, she's talking about beauty standards in women, you know, and how she's, in the chorus, she's basically just saying to women, you know, have your cake and eat it. You know, there's no reason why you can't eat cake. You can eat cake and still be a woman, and you know, you don't have to adhere to these ridiculous standards that are put onto you by society. However, I don't think as a track, you know, the chorus is all that great. I think it's a bit simplistic. It doesn't really sound very enjoyable to listen to, in my opinion. It's not terrible, but I just don't think it's a particularly good pop song. But one telling thing about this track that didn't really add up, in my opinion, was the first verse, where she's basically saying like women can kind of go out there and do whatever they want, don't let anything hold you back, which I, you know, completely understand. I don't think there's really that many people out there that say women can't go out there and do whatever they can, but you know, I digress. However, you know, to say that, you know, women can just go out and do that, but then on a previous track she's saying that her daughter wants to spend time with her, it just doesn't really add up. Like, what life is it that you want to live? You know, you're saying that you don't spend enough time with your daughter, but you're also saying that I need to go out there and live my life. But which one is the priority? I don't really think it kind of added up in her sense. Perhaps basically what this album is though is saying that all the issues that women have throughout life, like there are so many things that just make everything complicated, and for that I must say that these kind of issues that she displays on these tracks do add up to quite a confusing state, in the sense that like, wow, like these are all the problems that you have and it all just doesn't really make sense, and it must be absolutely melting your mind. And Lily Allen does a good job of addressing all those things. So yeah, generally I think this album's pretty alright. It's not quite the debut album at all, honestly, but there are some good tunes here, some good song topics, some great songs as well. I'm gonna go C plus. I think this is a pretty solid album overall. Let me know your thoughts if you've heard it. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Do have a good day. Do have a good day, and yeah. At first, it made me